All right, but if we can hold you for a little bit longer, I do have some burning questions.
Sure, hit me.
A spoiler time, spoiler alert. We'll put in another sound effect for this. Fade's alive, obviously. My jaw dropped when we first interviewed you about Fade, and I had fully thought with him, quote, dying at the end of book 1, let's get some backstory. Let's get a prequel. Let's see him and Matt Egan becoming friends. Let's go back to the beginning. What was it like? That would be fun. I hope you would enjoy that because the readers would enjoy it. But what got you to this point to bring him back?
It was very much, I don't know, I thought about him a lot because, I loved that character. I mean, seriously, like when I wrote his death scene, there were tears in my eyes when I was typing that. And, but to you, he was dead. Like that was the point of the book, that I was going to kill him off and all that. So I started thinking about it. I remember I was on a run in Tucson, a trail running in Tucson, and I thought of a way that he could have survived. And it just kind of popped into my head, but I didn't have a story for him back then. And now the world has gotten so chaotic. I almost need a character if I'm going to do what I consider modern thrillers, right? This is going to deal with AI and the elites and all this stuff. The divisions in the United States. I needed a character that could process that in an interesting way, that was a bit of a philosopher and, a really deeply moral guy and all this stuff. So really, that's when I thought I'd use that idea to resurrect him, because he was the guy, in my mind, he's the guy to tell the contemporary story. Like, I want to see what all the chaos in the world through Fade's eyes. I want to know what he thinks about it. He's not a stoic. No, a lot of the guys, who write, or Vince, and or have these very powerful characters who are very stoic and all this, and that's not Fade. He's always thinking about things and wondering about things and feeling caught up in things. So he seemed like the right guy to tell the story of 2025.
Yeah. All these other larger than life protagonists want to rise above the chaos and the geopolitics of it all. And Fade just wants to be like, write it off. What does that have to do with me? But I loved how you brought him back. Was that the idea when you were running in Tucson, was that one of the cops, the sniper, he pulled his shot intentionally because what was it that he saved them? And I love how Matt gave him like hints, like he led him to it. And then he let Fade put it together and say, oh, the cop was one of the guys that I had saved earlier. And so he pulled his shot.
So his SEAL team had gone and saved these guys in Afghanistan, and the guy knew who he was and pulled his shot. So, and it was in a hospital. Like literally he was shot in a hospital.
Right. So you can help him. Yeah.
So, and that was the moment I thought, well, maybe he could have survived. But again, I didn't have a story for him back then. This was years and years and years ago. But then when I thought I was going to leave the Mitch Rapp stuff and I really wanted to deal with very contemporary threats, runaway technology, chaos or the elites and all this stuff, I thought, this is a guy who could tell that story and that you could empathize with.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm not much of a creative myself, but I feel like if that is coming back to you 20 years later, you're thinking, what would Fade feel about the situation, or how would Fade respond? That means you tapped into something. You had a special character, you had a secret sauce. And I feel like so many people just don't listen to that voice or that instinct and never get to write that Fade in, never get to write that second book, even though, it was there and was there for a reason. You were thinking about it for a reason, because there was more story to tell.
He was a hard guy to get out of your mind.
Yeah.
No, because such a weird character. And he's, to some extent, he's based on a couple of people I've known over the years. So, that were very dear to me. So, definitely a hard guy to dislodge.
What about this point? What about Matt Egan's family, though, because that was also a bold move that hits you like a sledgehammer. After book 1, he had the family. He lost Fade as a friend, but still tried his best to, make amends with him, and that went to shit. His family just dies off page. Like,
Yeah, so Matt Egan's family is funny because like when I first wrote Matt Egan, it was 20 years ago, I had like a placeholder, and I was like, Matt Egan's wife does something weird. And I wanted it to be really the antithesis of everything he was, because I love those opposites attract thing. And one day I was typing, and I don't know if I'm a huge fan of a musician named PJ Harvey. And I thought, Matt Egan's wife is PJ Harvey. And so that's what I went with. That you have this very straight-laced military guy and this woman who is this alternative musician, but he loved her and they had a family, and she kind of kept him out of the darkness kind of thing.
yeah.
Um, but I wanted him broken. Like you had to have all the people that
Right.
joined John Lowe's little cabal,
Right.
the thing that John Lowe does, which makes him very morally ambiguous. I can't do it like you.
Yeah, I did it to you.
You've screwed me up. Is that he gives people what they want and what they need.
Right.
And sometimes that can be a really dark thing. And so I gave Matt Egan, Matt Egan now has become somebody who needed something that
Yeah.
Lowe could give him. And now essentially he's a little bit enslaved, which again is kind of like John Lowe's trying to do the right thing, but maybe not.
Right.
He ain't no Boy Scout.
No. And look at what Matt did at the training exercise. I thought the training scene was, even though there's plenty of crazy wild action scenes, one of the most fun to go on is the training scene when Matt's like, bring me the beers. And I'm like, oh crap, like how the hell is this going to go? And that's when you get to see Fade's humanity, and he's a team guy. The SEAL mission was still embedded in him, in his DNA, even after all that he's been through. Matt, though, was a loose cannon there. And then particularly with Eugene, well, first off, the Eugene character was great. And then even coming back in the dreams, those dream sequences were wild. I wonder where you're going with that. I wonder if that gets unpacked. How
I don't
and
know.
why.
Yeah. Poor Fade. But yeah, it's Matt, I think, is his own, independent character that I wanted to be really rich and interesting, because it's easy when you have a character as powerful as Fade to let the other people fall into the background. And it's like when I wrote a book in the first person once, and I discovered that the challenge of that is very much, how do you make the secondary characters who don't have their own voice rich? And so I wanted Matt to be that guy, and he is obviously extremely angry and has lost his icy veneer, which is hard for him. So
Unhinged, Matt unhinged.
yeah, Matt Egan, the guy who never made a mistake,
Right.
was
Buttoned up.
always super calm, unhinged, lost everything.
Yeah.
So
That's
those are
that
the
scene with the
stakes
coffin,
that
though.
are, huh?
The scene with the coffin.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was wild. That
So
was
yeah,
insane.
I mean, the stakes were high. The stakes were high, and John Lowe's serious about putting together a team of the best. And so how do you do that? You think about what is SAS training, and then you turn it up to 11, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then everybody under that level of stress, all the characters reveal themselves, right?
Right.
Like, who is Linnea? Who's Danny?
Right.
And how do they react to those things? Linnea being the very straight-laced person with no sense of humor, but then being disappointed in herself because she wasn't the moral compass there. Fade was, and she wanted, what Lowe was giving her, which, you'll find out in the next book what it is he gave her. So,
okay.
It's interesting to put characters under that level of stress and then see who they are really.
Yeah, I think it's really cool how she almost shines as the next teammate and team member that you kind of want to have your back. Uh, when she's a sniper and she takes that shot, and Fade,
But
no
she's
one thinks it's a viable shot, and he forces her to take it, and she takes it and makes it. Like, Fade's pushing people to their limits because he pushes himself to those limits. And when he's getting Linnea and the team to do the same, whether it's like the physical limits of taking that shot or the moral limits of testing who they are and figuring out what's right and wrong, I thought the team dynamic was cool. It reminded me of like an American Assassin. Some of these like really iconic training scenes that bring the team together and they have this come to Jesus moment. I knew after that scene they were as tight as can be. Any op you put them in, the village, the Madagascar village and all the other ops, I was like, they're tight. No one's screwing each other. There's no bad guy in this team. Like, they are the real deal. They're going to go out and get shit done.
Yeah, they finally did, though. She is very wary of him because he's so different than she is. And, she likes the steady, more like Danny, right? Like
Sure.
the really
Yeah.
steady guy. And that guy's, Fade's all fire. And I think she points out that, he's the guy that never dies, but not everybody else is as bulletproof as he is. So it's that, and that's a really interesting relationship to deal with, because the thing with Fade is he's one of those people who everybody likes immediately, and she doesn't. And
Mm.
and he gets to play with that all the time. Like, it's like the only person in the world that doesn't like him, and he has a great time with it.
It's his actions, though. Actions speak louder than words. It's his actions that bring her to his side or bring her into the fold. And I feel like she'll
Exactly.
have his back through anything now after what they've been
Yeah.
through, like trial by fire.
And
And
she's
he
that
proved
type of
himself.
person. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
that type of
Yeah.
person. She's never gonna let a teammate down.
The
Mhm.
other people, I feel like Lisa and him had that bond. She was a great. I feel like there were phases of women in this book. Like, she was phase one. You met her, you saw who her relationship with Fade showed who Fade was in the way he was going to care for her and help cover up the thing with the football player. Like, they had each other's back. And then phase two is like Linnea. They have each other's back, trial by fire. But then you throw us this oddball woman who is part call girl, but part high end assistant. Were you just having fun with that? I was like, what? Where's Kyle go with this one? Or someone
Again,
as broken as he
you're
is.
going to the elites, right?
Yeah.
This I'm not making this shit up. Like, this
Yeah.
stuff goes on. I mean, you
Yeah.
see it. I mean, it kind of blew up with the Epsteins,
Mm.
but this stuff exists. Like, young women who are trafficked and, sent off to Eastern Europe or, the Middle East or whatever, and, become companions for very wealthy people. I mean, all this kind of stuff exists. It's real. Like, almost nothing. It's funny. The next book I'm writing it's almost everything is grounded in some incident that I've put together that's real. And Raya is real. So she's essentially sold to him, and she knows it. But their relationship evolves because he's not the kind of person that would ever, he keeps telling her to quit, and he'll give her all his money because he doesn't care about it.
They're also
So,
both so broken. Like,
yeah.
I think they can connect with one another because they've been there. Like, not many people can look at Fade and say, I've been where you've been. I've been as low as you've been. I've been as screwed over as you've been, and you still keep fighting. You're a survivor. I think maybe this is what you intended. She's going to give him the will to live. I feel like that's the arc. I don't know what Fade 3 has in store. Fade Out, maybe. Who knows what we're going to... Ooh, Fade Out, I hope not, because that might have a connotation.
Someday,
But
last book.
yeah, someday. We already thought we had the last book in book number 1, but you did the Kyle Mills twist. You pulled the rug out from under us. But yeah, I just think she's the one who can basically save Fade from himself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, somebody that grounds him and gives him something to live for, somebody
Yeah.
to be loyal to. And, he needs that
Yeah.
because the world is, I don't know, he's not sure he cares about that and cares about being alive or dead. But I mean, we all need that, right? I mean, this is what I'm trying to do with Fade, is create somebody that we can all kind of empathize with. We all need something to live for. And we kind of cling to whatever that might be, if it's family or friends, or I don't know, sometimes it's a job, whatever that makes us
Hmm.
feel like we belong on this earth. And he needs that. And she does too. And that they come to a pact where that's what they're going to be for each other. Um, and we'll see. We'll see if it works.
Yeah, it sounds almost like what I thought Matt Egan's role was in book one, which was he was the one trying to give Fade that sense of belonging and like never giving up on him as a former friend, even through everything. And now I feel like I don't want to say he failed in that. He played a very important role in it, but he couldn't put the finishing touches on it. He couldn't be Fade's savior and friend and everything's kumbaya in the end.
I
So
think
I
he's too
just,
broken.
he's too broken now with
He's
losing his
just too
family.
broken
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
So curious about his arc, curious about Raya's arc. I think she definitely has a future. So I want to see where you go with it. But no doubt you're going to pull stuff from headlines again. I was reading the scenes about the syringe attacks when John Lowe, like we were saying, a lot of your books have puzzles in them. I remember Mitch Rapp, Enemy at the Gates. There were so many puzzles to figure out with these packages being left all throughout Africa. But he almost puts the puzzle together of like, why are these people being attacked, not killed, not beaten up? They're also really brilliant scientists and thinkers. They're almost the elites themselves. Why are they getting mobbed? And then he finds out about the syringe attacks. I swear, I read that chapter, checked my phone like 10 minutes later, and read about the music festival in France.
Yeah.
100-something people stabbed with syringes at a music festival. Kyle, you ripped the stuff right out of the headlines. It's insane. A syringe
Yeah.
attack. That's the most obscure thing. And it happened while I'm reading your book.
And it happened. Well, after I wrote it. Yeah, it happened. Yeah. So that's also a component that wasn't as important in the Mitch Rapp books, and that I really like is that's the sleuthy stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, the book's not a mystery or anything, but how do they figure this out? And I like those steps, that like a Sherlock Holmes would take. And so that was kind of the goal with that, whereas the Mitch Rapp stuff was a little less procedural.
Yeah. Now, one other thing, just to wrap it up, that makes Kyle Mill's book is the technology. I don't know what I liked more between the drone in the very beginning, the AI drone. It's almost like your own personal bodyguard in the sky, your watcher in the sky. But that's exactly what I expect a guy like a John Lowe, or I should say an Elon Musk or, a Jeff Bezos to come up with to protect themselves. That drone was really cool, but I think the better piece of tech might have been the mystery machine.
Yeah.
And I think you were on the mystery machine for a little while when you had that really, really awesome beard growing in. Did you unplug from the mystery machine and shave the beard?
That's literally a Wyoming face warmer. So when you're skiing and stuff, it definitely has a benefit. But then when it gets warm again, I shave it off. So that's my cycle,
I
the
like
beard
it.
cycle.
But that machine was perfect because it kind of goes to that moral ambiguity of John Lowe knows he's not doing the most upright thing. And that very haunting description of he takes the children, puts them in this academy, gives them a life they would never had, but is secretly stealing their blood to be used to rejuvenate and make superhumans who are youthful. Where did you come up with that? Because no doubt in a few months we're going to see it being sold on Amazon.
God, I hope not. So yeah, the blood thing is real and probably not a direction humanity I hope wants to go, but it seems to work. So the other big motivator for that is, and I kind of made fun of this in the book a little bit, is the idea, the cliche of somebody waking up from a coma. So like when I came up with the idea, it felt a little General Hospital. And when I did research, strangely, I have two friends who've been in comas. And when I did research for it, it's just really not realistic. And in fact, I made fun of it in the book where Fade likes to watch Arabic soap operas. And the guy's like waking up but his best friend's going to screw him. And it's like this big soap opera. And so I wanted to make it realistic. And that's where you have this machine that helps him recover. And also all the training that he had to do and the trying to come back and trying to figure out the difference between, dreams and reality and stuff. So I didn't want it to be that, you wake up from a coma and you're great, you're
Right.
doing backflips and shooting people and all that stuff. I wanted him to not be able to get out of bed, to be able to walk on crutches and all that stuff.
And I think that's something like how you brought Fade back with the police sniper pulling a shot because he had respect for Fade. He was, paying him one back. I bought into this one because a big question I had after Fade 1 was, how the heck is this guy going to operate? How is he going to kick ass? And I was like, I hope it's not just some very gimmicky, like some of these characters who are pushing late 50s are still super elite operators. They're taking pills, they're doing steroids. I was like, I hope it's just not that generic kind of trajectory. And there was nothing generic about the rehab facility, the mystery machine, the bullet surgery, how it was perfect. He was in a coma because that's how they were able to extract the bullet. If he wasn't in a coma, if he wasn't immobile for months, they wouldn't have been able to get the bullet out. Hats off to you. You got me. I was a skeptical reader after I heard Fade survived. I was like, how the heck are you going to make him not only survive, but make him be a super badass again? And you pulled it off with Fade in. You really got me with that one. So, well
yeah,
done.
and it starts kind of really dark because he that drug, by the way, that gets people out of comas is real, and that it kills 80% of the people they give it to, and Lowe's basically like, you
Go
weren't
for
doing
it.
so well, so
Yeah.
dead wouldn't have been a big deal, but you didn't die, so it's all good.
Oh man.
And
Well,
a little bit of John Lowe's character early on.
you definitely get that, and then that keeps up throughout the book. That's how he thinks problems through.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
almost like a high risk factor doesn't matter. It's still worth it. It's like pot odds and poker. You're in the pot. You got to keep playing the game.
Exactly.
Well, Kyle, congrats on Fade In. I can't believe there's more to Fade. After reading the first book, I wasn't sure this would happen, and now you've got me interested and intrigued for the third one.
Well, hopefully I'm glad you liked it, and hopefully you'll like the next one.
And I just have to say, great shirt.
This is a great shirt.
We'll have to hook you up with our new rebrand here. So
yeah, the
another shirt coming
rebrand,
your
I
way.
haven't gotten there yet, though. I don't know, I kinda like it, though. It's a little bit of history.
Yeah, true. The original Mitch Rapp Podcast. Well, Kyle, thanks so much. Thanks for spending the time, and congratulations on yet another pub day.
Thanks. Happy to be here, and it's always great to catch up with you.
Got to thank our patrons, including our special deputy director, Sherry F., our special operator, Jason C., our special agents, Ben, Daryl, Kevin, George, Matt, Don, Peggy, Mark, and Chris. Subscribe, rate, and review to all 3 seasons of No Limits. You can find us at thriller.pod.com or on Twitter and Instagram.